Hello. I am Jamesia Jonay, the Wealth Creator. I show people how to use other people's money to pay their mortgage, create cash flow, generate generational wealth. My last video, we talked about guardianship and receivership. So since I spoke on the elderly, wanted to stay on that topic today. Don't lose grandmama's house. Now, one thing that's interesting is growing up, I've heard it said that people always say, we're going to grandma's house, right? Rarely would you hear anybody saying, we're going to granddaddy's house. Granddaddy may have been there, great granddaddy may have been there, but it's always, we're going to grandma's house or great grandma's house, right? So don't lose grandma's house. So there was a t-shirt and some pictures or memes, however you pronounce it, going around the internet about don't lose grandma's house. And the thing for me is people being educated and understanding what that really means, right? So today's topic specifically is reverse mortgages, because sometimes people are losing grandma's house because they don't understand what's going on with grandma. One of the things is some elderly, specifically in the African American community, I can't speak to other communities, it seems like when they get older, they don't want to discuss some personal matters, right? So for instance, my father's auntie, may she rest in heaven, as she started to get older, my father is like, auntie, we need to discuss your life insurance, your property, your deed, how you want your finances and things to be distributed when you pass away. Not trying to kill anybody, just having those conversations before it's too late, right? And her response to my father was basically like, you're just trying to be in my business or whatever. And my father was well established, had his own, very trustworthy. So sometimes it's not that an individual isn't trustworthy, it's just that some elderly don't want to have those conversations. They don't want to tell their business. We have to, though, encourage them to communicate with us. So I recently sat down with a family member whose grandparent has a reverse mortgage. And I asked them, did they understand what that means? Because they are supposed to inherit the property, right? But when there is a reverse mortgage, even if there's a will or something in place saying that the grandchild, child, etc. will inherit the property, that may not be the case, right? So a reverse mortgage is a mortgage loan usually secured by a residential property that enables the borrower to access the unencumbered value of the property. Unencumbered value, equity. You're accessing the equity, right? If the house is fully paid off and now the comps show that that property is worth $200,000, they can access up to or a portion of that $200,000, right? If the house, the current mortgage or was currently owed on it is $50,000, it's valued at $200,000. Now you can access up to or a percentage of $150,000, right? So they're accessing the unencumbered value, the equity that they have in the property. It's now an asset. They don't owe that money to anybody. So that's what unencumbered value means. The loans are typically, right, promoted to older homeowners and typically do not require monthly mortgage payments. So that's where the aha comes in, right? Because usually people are getting 30-year mortgage terms, maybe they're getting 15-year mortgage terms. People are purchasing properties in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 30 years later, they're 60, 70, 80 years old, right? And I'm not against reverse mortgages. I am against transparency and conversations. When an elderly individual is approached about a reverse mortgage, someone should be a part of those conversations that they know, like, love, and trust, that they are related to or that they are close to get an understanding of what a reverse mortgage is and what it means if they are planning to leave their property to a child or a grandchild, right? If they are planning to leave their property to an individual or individuals, those individuals should be a part of the conversation when they sit down with a lender to discuss the reverse mortgage, to understand what's going on. Oftentimes, the borrower needs money, right? So they may get a lump sum from their reverse mortgage, or they may decide to get a monthly payment, if I'm not mistaken, for the reverse mortgage. If they're looking for a monthly payment, maybe the family chips in and helps that elderly person out. But most importantly, understanding what the reverse mortgage is and not having someone, and I'm not saying an elderly person is not smart. That's not what I'm saying, right? I have made unwise financial decisions in my 20s, and I was college educated, well read, have gone to conferences and seminars, right? We don't know what we don't know. So it's always good to have someone that we love and trust that understands what we're doing, right? If I'm making certain financial decisions, I can talk to my mother, I can talk to my father, I can talk to a friend that may be a landlord, right? So when you're making financial decisions, talking to people who understand or can get an understanding or know someone in the industry to get a second opinion and understanding when it comes to reverse mortgages. So that's my biggest thing, because it is typically promoted to older people. And as I said on my video yesterday about the guardianship, there are a lot of people that are out here scamming and taking advantage of the elderly, right? If an elderly person goes to a bank, they're assuming that the lender has their best interests at heart. If they go to a lawyer, they're assuming that lawyer has their best interests at heart. We're making those assumptions whether we're elderly or not, right? So when they're borrowing this money, they're borrowing on the equity. So it's like, I paid for this home. I bought this home 30 years ago. It's paid off. Now this property is worth $200,000. So I'm going to tap into that equity. So I'm borrowing the money that I have in this home. I'm tapping into the equity, and I'm going to utilize that equity. Now, hopefully one is utilizing the equity to invest in an asset, but I'll get into that in another video. Stay tuned, right? But for the most part, they may be taking that lump sum to make repairs on the property, to upgrade the property, or again, because they need to supplement their retirement income or their Social Security, right? So the biggest thing is, what happens when they die? They have this reverse mortgage, they've passed away, they wanted to leave the house to their grandchildren or their children, right? Don't lose grandmama's house. What happens is, whomever they've left the home to will have to purchase the property at the current market value that the property is going for, and they have 12 months to do so. That means you have to meet the credit score requirements, have your taxes done, right? So in order to purchase a property, oftentimes you need a minimum 620 credit score, maybe higher. Some do go as low as 580, but we're going to say 620. You need to have at least 2 years of tax returns. You need to show some sort of job stability, business stability, whether those tax returns are 1099s or 1040s, right? You need to have check stubs or be able to show income. You need to be able to qualify for a mortgage. Certain areas, the market value for the house may be $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 when this individual passes away. Is their heir in position to purchase the property? Do they even understand where they need to be, or how financially solid they need to be to ensure that they don't lose grandmama's house? It wasn't anything wrong with grandma getting a reverse mortgage, especially if it was something that she needed and hopefully the grandparents were not taking advantage of. But then grandma passes away and somebody is thinking, hey, I have this inheritance, and the bank is like, wait a minute, they borrowed this money, we gave them this lump sum, we allowed them to live off of it, we did not charge them a monthly payment, now we want our money back. So what will happen is, if they pass away, the bank has that asset, that home as an asset, right? So if you want to inherit it, the bank will give you up to 12 months based on what I read and researched. It may vary in different states and different lenders. They'll give you up to 12 months to get yourself together to be able to purchase the home, but you're not inheriting a home free and clear, right? You are now in a position where grandma and grandpa bought their home, they paid their home off, then in their older years, they were able to utilize that home as an asset, and it putting money in their pocket as a lump sum or monthly. And now that they've passed away, if you want to keep grandma's home, you need to be in a position to be able to purchase it, right? So I am Jamesia Jonay, the wealth creator. I show people how to use other people's money to pay their mortgage, create cash flow, generate generational wealth, and protect their assets. I am a licensed real estate broker in the state of Illinois, specializing specifically in the city of Chicago and the surrounding suburbs of the Chicagoland area. I work with buyers, I work with sellers, I work with homeowners. My specialty is working with people who invest. My goal is just to be a resource, to provide knowledge and information so that people understand the process from A to Z, beginning to end, all the things or most of the things that are involved in real estate, because there is so much and it can be so complex, right? So I encourage you, if you're watching this video and you have elderly people in your family and you are a responsible, loving person, talk to grandma, talk to grandfather, find out what's going on with their home. Do they have a reverse mortgage? Do they have a child or grandchildren that they've identified that they want to leave their property to? Maybe helping them, sitting down with them as a family to create a will, right? My great-grandfather left a home and over 40 acres down in Alabama. The property can never be sold. It just passes down from generation to generation. So if a grandparent wanted to set something up like that, sitting down with the people in the family whom they have identified that they love and trust and are interested in having a part of that conversation, right? So I am Jamesia Jonay. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel and you just happen to stumble upon this video, my videos will be related to all things wealth, entrepreneurship, real estate, and capital. I am focused on workflow, educating, providing knowledge and information. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you see me next time, because I won't see you, right? Have a good one. Feel free to email me and visit my website to schedule a consultation with me.